So Nabi Muhammad, the bulk of his life was sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mercy. That was the overall lapping factor about him alayhi salatu wasalam. But there were times, there was the battle of Badr, there was the battle of Uhud. There were rules and regulations in our religion. There's capital punishments there. It's not a religion, turn the other cheek. There is rules, there is. And when you're a teacher, to enforce these things is actually for the betterment of the student. It's what he needs, it's what he requires. He may not like it at that moment, but what you're doing is going to help his future, it's going to help what he becomes for himself and for his family. So yes, definitely put some rules in place that they do follow through with it. And that itself is a form of mercy. It's actually a form of mercy. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says something very powerful in this regard. He says, if there's slight dirt on your body, and it needs you to like slightly use a bit of force to remove that dirt. You'd use a little bit of force to remove the dirt. It's not because you're trying to be hard on your skin or anything like that. It's because it needs that in order to take the harm off. So sometimes you need to be a bit tough in order to bring good for the person. And so that's the ultimate goal behind it. And so that's why the Prophet ﷺ, if we looked at his life a bit more, there were times he was very harsh on certain people. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Just like I mentioned, when Ka'b, for example, Ka'b ibn Zuhair ibn Abi Sulma, the Prophet did put his life in that situation. He did say, wherever you find him, execute him. Even when, as far as saying, وَلَوْ مُتَعَلِّقٌ بِأَسْتَادِ الْكَعْبَةِ, even if he's holding onto the Kaaba. And that's generally something the Arabs never did. But when he came back repenting and he rectified his situation, for the Prophet it was bigger than himself. For him, it was the deen. So he accepted it from him. So in that regard, it's like that, inshallah ta'ala. Now. So in order to find happiness and joy, I mentioned Ibn al-Qayyim's statement the brother asked, and we mentioned following the 5 chosen prophets. Does that mean that we don't follow the other prophets? We follow all prophets in the things that are, of course, not against our legislation. We follow all the prophets. And ayah فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِي is a plural. So follow them all. But the reason why these 5 are chosen is because they're the greatest 5 prophets. They're the highest level than the rest of the prophets. So because of that, they were mainly focused on now.
We have a question from the sisters. What is the best way to raising my children in a Muslim country? My children attend school, but should I implement learning from home instead?
Children are, the tarbiyah of the children, for me, the way I look at it, and I've read many books, even non-Muslim books, to see what they suggest and psychology behind children's thinking. And one thing I found, the greatest thing that children, tarbiyah helps, is setting a good example for them. Children are more of followers than they are listeners. And if you set yourself goals and you follow through with them and you achieve things, that's what they will follow through with. That's why I say, parents, if you're lazy, you're not working hard, you're not putting effort in, then that's the same thing that's going to happen with your children. They're not going to put hard work in, they're not going to put effort in, and they're going to be very lazy. So my advice is, inshallah ta'ala, is set them as good example. Second thing I follow through with, and I encourage others to do, inshallah ta'ala, is create an Islamic environment for your children. What do I mean by that? Get rid of these things that distract children and all of that. You can create fun things with your children. You can do good things with them. A lot of parents, they find it very hard to spend time with their children. It's like, go to your mom. Don't come. I don't want to have time for you. Especially fathers. And so the boy grows up very feminine because he hasn't had a male figure around. The boy grows up and he doesn't know what it means to be outside and deal with other people. So whenever he goes out, he's very nervous, he's scared, he's terrified, he's nervous, so he's depressed, and all of these things come through with it. So fathers, if it's a boy, take him out. Let him go out with you. Teach him things. Say, do you know what I'm doing here? Yeah, this is what I'm doing. Learn from it. And they learn things. And in that time, you're a muallim, you're a teacher on all scales. The way I talk, the way I respond to people, the way somebody might insult me and my children are with me, and then you just don't respond back to the person. You just ignore them, and you say, "I wish my children weren't here." I'm joking. But you don't respond, and you let the children are watching you. These are lessons they're taking from you more than just sitting in a classroom. And last but not least, ad-du'a. Begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of parents don't remember their children in their sujood, the time when they're most closest to Allah. When you're in sujood, beg Allah. Say, Ya Allah, Allahumma ahfadhum ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, protect my children. Oh Allah, protect my wife and kids. Yani making dua for the family, as we mentioned before, I remember a brother in the UK. This brother, he felt bad in the way he lived. His lifestyle was treacherous. Crime after crime, prison after prison. Subhanallah. When I looked at him, I was like, Allah can guide. This one is and nothing is hard to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Years later, I see a brother, lihya, in the masjid, leading Taraweeh. I recognize his face, but I don't know I don't know where I saw him. He grabbed me, said, "Hey, Shaykh, do you remember me?" I said, No. But your face, I've seen it somewhere. I'm good with faces, I always forget names. So like the face, yeah, I know this face, but I don't know where I saw you. Noor, wallahi, from the way he looked before now, Noor, beauty. He said to me, "Shaykh, I'm Fulan ibn Fulan." He told me, "I remember now." I said, "Akhi, Allahumma barik. Allahu Akbar. Tell me your story." He told me this, I did this. I couldn't see something that turned his guidance. I couldn't see anything. Then I said, "How's your parents? Where are they? They're alive." As we were talking, he said, "My mom used to pray Qiyamul Layl. And she used to wake up and pray Qiyamul Layl for Allah to guide me. And I memorized the Quran from that." And he said, if I'm not at work and I'm not working, I'm in the masjid. His kids, he's got a life now. So Allah, subhanallah, the dua of the walid, subhanallah, the dua of the parents, Shaykh, is something else. I'm telling you, it will change anything. So if you have children, don't get angry and make dua against them. Make dua for them. One of the things my father, may Allah bless him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, preserve him, whenever my dad gets angry, and he's angry with the kids, my dad would say, "Allah yarda alayk." That's it. We knew dad was angry. Allah yarda alayk dad was angry. So it's a good thing to get angry but make dua for your children, rather than make curse and bad things against them. Wallahu a'lam.
Sheikh, we'll take the last question from Zoom. Can you please mention the name of the book where Ustad mentioned is about the times when Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam cried and the Sahabas cried?
Yeah, the kitab is written by Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi. It's called Al-Riqqatu wal-Buka. Yeah. Did you guys look it up? What's the difference between patience and humiliation? I asked yesterday. For somebody to say, I'm patient with this thing, or really they're not patient, they're just humiliating themselves. What's the difference between the two? That was a question I put yesterday to the brothers and the sisters. The scholars, they say the difference between it is if a person he puts himself in a position of something he cannot take, this is called humiliation. The Prophet said it in the hadith, لا ينبغي للمؤمن أن يذل نفسه. قالوا وكيف يذل نفسه؟ قال يتعرض من البلاء مما لا يطيق. To present yourself to a problem that you know you cannot deal with it. You're biting more than you can chew. This is a humiliation. Like impatience is when you're put through a situation and it's not of your choosing and you show endurance and resilience. That's patience. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all and grant you all Jannatul Firdaus. I'm going to let you guys go, inshallah. I hope I benefited you, even that I was in the introduction. But next time, inshallah, I'm going to come quick, inshallah. Next time, we do a part 2 and a part 3, inshallah ta'ala. And maybe then we might have covered a good few points, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakum Allah khairan. And may Allah bless the organizers for the hard work and the effort that they exert. Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh Hassan. Barakallahu feekum.